Hello everyone, I am GLPhoenix, and welcome to Metroid Dread. I will be doing the no major glitches category, well, any percent no major glitches. Some of them have been patched out since the introduction of the splitting category, but we will be getting started from essentially a new file. It's just so that we don't have to deal with all of the opening cinematic and all that kind of stuff. It just gets us started right away. So we will be getting started in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. So, Metroid Dread. Also, one thing to note is that the route that I'll be doing is a bit of an outdated one. I'll be doing some of the things from very early on in Metroid Dread speedrunning. I'm still doing a lot of the big skips, but some of the more recent stuff I have not incorporated just yet. But whoop, wrong button. Good start. Okay, well, one of the more annoying skips comes pretty early on into the game. We get this, well, this tutorial is just gonna get dealt with right away. It's very soon. Let me just get up here. Thank you. Using a trick that is called the pseudo wave, and we'll be using that a reasonable amount of times. The first one is here, where we shoot this thing through the wall. That is the easier one. Now, this second one is real awkward. You have to slide, jump, bonk your head on the roof, and turn around and shoot pretty much all in one continual motion, and there's like no consistent setup for this one. It's just keep on going. You can see every now and then the bullet will show up through that through the floor, the roof. There we go. There's one of the hits. It requires 2 hits, which is also one of the things that makes it a little bit more annoying, is that you need to do this twice. So close. There we go. That's actually not too bad, all things considered. And now, some of the more recent runs would go to the right and fight the first boss, Corvus, immediately. I am just going to do the older route, which is going this way and getting Charge Beam first. And now we get our first encounter with the Emmy. This should technically be our second encounter, but that first of the skips, the easier of the pseudo waves, ends up skipping the tutorial Emmy. There is a way to speed this up, but it requires running into it deliberately and getting the counter hit, which is dangerous. I'm just going to pop over here to get the extra missiles. And talk to Adam some more. Adam, eventually we don't end up talking to again because there's a point in the sequence breaking where Adam just stops talking to us. There is a skip that makes it so he stops talking to us sooner, but that is not a trick that I have figured out yet. If you do want to see it though, there was a race recently at Frost Fatales that was very good and showed a bunch of different strategies for this particular category, which was really fun to watch, and I do recommend it. Alright, this Emmy can be a bit annoying. One thing about the Emmys is, well, with this game in general, there is very little RNG. It's very consistent, except for the Emmys. The Emmys are where they spawn is random, so there's the chance for them to be in a really unfortunate spot to make things really awkward. Hopefully, they're going to treat me okay today. But we'll see. In a practice run I did earlier, one of the enemies was in a really, really not fun spot. But hopefully they're going to be okay with me today. Just shoot this. Basic shooting, I swear, is the hardest thing. And once we get the charge shot, I'll be able to show you something that's pretty neat that the game can do. Well, there's actually... Well, before that, we've got to get past this one. There is a skip to where you jump up towards the right there to skip having to do this Watergate thing. But I haven't practiced that yet. I can, however, do a bit of a slide underneath them and manage to get through there just like that. There are also a lot of just like little optimizations. Like you'll see me sliding off ledges. That is just a little bit faster. Oh, come on. Yeah, just little optimizations, trying to jump as little as possible. And just little stuff like that. And as for the little trick I was referring to, with these charge shots, you can instantly charge them by spin jumping. And we will be using that a little bit later on. I am going to grab this energy tank. I am also going to grab a few extra ones later on, just for safety. Because there's some of the fights later on that get a little bit dicey. Not necessarily with any of the bosses, although in practice I did end up taking a death to Dad, which was a little bit awkward. I was just a little bit distracted. But anyway, first boss. This can either go really well for me, or I fumble it a lot, and it's really annoying. Which is also why I prefer to get the charge shot. This is Corpus. It can be really annoying, and the head can go in all sorts of directions, but thankfully... And especially when he is invisible. Cool. We're going to take the hit because it makes it quicker to just... That was a really quick Corpus fight. Really happy with that. Alright, so now we have the Phantom Cloak, which is mostly used to get by certain doors, which you may have seen them before. Like this. Whoop. Ideally, you slide into them to give a little bit of extra pace, or so you speed it up a little bit. There's also, you can dash attack into them. Whoop. Alright, so moving on. We still have yet to get the spider magnet. We have to do a bunch of redirecting of power and heat and all that kind of stuff. Oh, paying attention before we get onto the next area. So yes, we will be dealing with one of the Emmys fairly soon. A lot of the enemies are pretty straightforward in the way in which you want to kill them. There's little optimizations here and there, depending on how bold you want to be. And some of them can get a little bit sketchy, but I'm probably just going to go for pretty straightforward versions of the fights. And when I say fights, it's standing from full screen and just shooting them as much as possible. Making our way over there. Oh, oh wow, that's unfortunate. I actually kind of needed those. Needed to not drop down there because I do not have the missiles. So I'm just gonna use that thing that I was mentioning with the instant charge shots. It's a little bit slower, and then this part you can just mash. Come on. Took a lot more damage than I was expecting to, because I didn't end up getting the missiles and the stuff that I needed, but it worked out. Alright, so this first enemy. There is a very dangerous way of dealing with them, and that is to stand literally right at this doorway and shoot it as it's coming through, but up here is the less sketchy way. So we shoot the faceplate, wait for it to blow up, and then we shoot it. And that is the first of the enemies down that we've actually interacted with. And they will give us the spider magnets to allow us to grab onto all of those pink, or the bluish walls. Whew. Usually you would be expected to have the spider magnet before you fight the Corvus fight, but due to fancy shenanigans, we don't. This is expected to come down this way. Now, this is where we were before. Okay. Now that we have our 3 items, we will be going to... Come on. Come on. I'm just running into everything. We're going to... I think it's Brent? There is a damage boost way to get across there, but it's very finicky. Come on. Okay. Done with the first segment. And pretty happy with how it went. Getting out of Altaria prior to like the 15-minute mark is usually like... It's a safe estimate to go with, mostly because of some of those first pseudo waves. The first one in and of itself is pretty easy, but that second one, you can sometimes be there for a minute or two, and it's definitely one of the big reset points for a lot of runs. So I'm very happy, with how I managed to get through that pretty straightforward. Oh, this is guitars. Oh. I am taking a lot of damage. But that's fine. So yeah, you can see like how long it takes to power the thing up, talk to Adam. Even some of the smaller Adam interactions take a little bit of time. So the early, like, as I mentioned, there is a way to skip them a little bit earlier, which definitely makes a difference. But as I said, I haven't really learned that as of yet. I'm just going to be killing some things as I get to them, just for that little bit of extra health, because, as I mentioned, I have been taking a lot of damage. There is a way to quickly get up there, but as I said, it's been a while since I've done a lot of this, so let me just grab this. I'm just going with what I know, and it is still good enough to keep to the estimate that I had set at the 145. Ooh. Yeah, another one of those little optimizations. Instead of just crawling up when mantling onto something, doing that little bit of a jump, it's just quickens things up just a little bit. Ooh. The movement in this game is very satisfying when you get it down to a really nice rhythm. Like, it can, like, when things are not going how you expect, it can kind of feel like trudging through mud. Alright, so this is one of the first really annoying Emmy spawns, and it's not even here. Wow. Usually, and like a lot of the time, the Emmy would be waiting literally at that junction. So you have to kind of bait it around and do some awkward stuff to make sure that you can actually get past it. Is this game after Fusion? This game's after Fusion? I believe so. I'm not too familiar with the Metroid lore and the timeline, but I believe it is. I cannot remember. It was mentioned at some point, but I cannot remember. I'm sorry. Ooh, just gonna bounce off some things here and there. That's fine. It's also why I'm very much happy to take the extra... get the... I don't want... the extra health packs, or the health tanks, because I know that I'll just be running into things left, right, and center. And not the worst. This is probably one of my least favorite spots in the game. It's just like really annoying to have to deal with those things. I haven't played Metroid games in a while. The last one, Fusion was the last chronologically. It mentions it at the start in the intro movie that we kind of skip. But I cannot remember because it's been so long since I've looked at that. You can see the Emmy is the red dot on the map. Thankfully, a lot of this segment, it's not too much of an issue. Ooh, actually. I'm not used to actually jumping and grabbing onto... usually that segment is a little bit awkward. Those buttons can be a little bit finicky. They might not like working from time to time. Okay, so we're essentially set up and ready to go to the next place. I think. You just have to do a bunch of looping around. That's essentially a lot of what this game ends up doing. You end up having to loop around all of these different environments. Now, this is a spot that is consistently an annoying Emmy. Got past them, that's good. Again, there's a quicker way to like wall jump while this has gone up to speed up just a fraction, but that's a minor optimization. Oh, didn't mean to. Let me hit the one that I want to. Thank you. No. Let's drag this down. It's much easier to get out of that little spot than it is to get into it. Grab another health tank. Okay, so all of this is to get to the next area, so we can then get the... What's in the other area? Wide beam and a morph beam. Morph ball. Not morph beam. The long loading screens in between these areas, it's a bit of a blessing and a curse. A curse because it takes a while, all these loading screens. A blessing, you get to kind of rest your hands for a sec and drink coffee like I do, constantly. Whew. Now onto the next section. I do have my splits up, mostly so I know where on earth I have to go next, because once we get later on and we start doing a lot of the sequence breaking, it can get a little bit confusing on the path you need to take to get to the next thing that we need. So even though, yes, we've done like a lot of sequence breaking already, a lot of it was very contained and things are still pretty straightforward at this point. It's essentially rewrited itself, but later on there is going to be a level of sequence breaking that we are not rewriting. We have to... Whoop, thanks for the damage boost that I was not expecting. To put the power back on so we can then blow up a wall or destroy one of the door covers. But I'm pretty happy with how this is going so far. And there's the wide beam. It's once we get plasma, I think, that our basic fire does like the most damage. Come on, come on. These boxes are really finicky. Can be a real pain in the butt. Alright. Now there's the next of the Emmys that we will see a little bit later. Come. I essentially just take my thumb off the thumbstick when I step in front of those boxes, just to make sure it's going to be a clean, straight hit. Okay, now that we have the wide beam, we can go and get ready to take out the Emmy back here. Yeah, and then it'll give us the morph suit, so we can then go and grab the morph suit, morph ball, so we can get the Various suit, so we can then take on Kraid. And now there is a It is possible to get bombs early, which makes a kill on Kraid a little bit quicker, but doing all of that in the long run is not particularly faster, so we still just do things fairly normally. And now that I actually have rockets, you'll see that it's just a little bit faster just to do this and then just riddle them with bullets. Is the Vari suit also the height of fashion? I think the gravity suit looks the best in this game. And we do actually get the gravity suit. Alright, the face is going up. I'm going to wait for it to pop his face up. The Vari suit does look good, but I think the gravity suit looks much better. Mostly because I'm a fan of purple. So yeah, that's a very straightforward kill on that Emmy, just because it has that nice, neat spot for it to come through. It's just timing the explosion can be a little bit awkward because it pops its head up, and if you miss the shot, you can have a sad time. But now we have more ball. Okay, and as much as possible, I try and slide through some of these segments just to give that little bit of extra space. A little bit of space. Cover a little bit of extra space. Now, we will be coming back here very soon. We just, as I mentioned, we need to get that Vari suit to like get through the very, very hot areas. Got these extra missiles because we do like having extra missiles for a bunch of fights. Well, we only really do a handful of fights. There's 2 major bosses that we do. That's it. We skip a bunch of the rest. We skip the underwater one. We skip the experiment. Was there any other bosses? There's a bunch of the Chozo warriors. We do skip a couple of those. But there's also like a bunch that we do have to fight regardless. Alright, back in Altaria. Or as I keep calling it, Altaria, like the Pokemon. Trying to avoid getting the energy tank fragments, because we do not. It's possible to get a charge shot through that very narrow spot, like while you're climbing up, because when you go into Morph Ball, the game just fires off the shot automatically if you've got it held. But if you aim it correctly, you can fire it into that narrow spot to save a little bit of time. Get back forth. Now we have the Vari suit. It does look very nice in the white. Alright, so now, yeah, this is what I meant by just sliding off as many surfaces as you can. It just gives you that little bit of extra oomph. Okay, back to where we were. After this, we do a little bit of a sequence breaking. And using a trick that I sometimes screw up and it makes me sad. Because if I screw up the second part of it, it's a two-part skip. If I screw up the first part of it, I can save it. If I screw up the second part, I have to reload from checkpoint. And I'll show you exactly what that means. We're just going to damage boost through these. Whoa. That was almost tragedy. And now we get to Kraid. Just pepper him with the feed him a whole bunch of missiles. Ooh, that was very quick. Ah, I've done that. I did that earlier today as well. Jumped a little bit too early. Alright. There we go. Alright, that could have been worse, could have been much worse, but also could have been a little bit better if I didn't get punched in the dome, but also you want to have at least 2 rockets coming out of that fight, because that door right there, and also one later on after this skip. But diffusion beam, it makes explosions, it makes our charge shots do explosions. And is going to be essentially the crux of a lot of shenanigans that we do later on. Okay. So, early grapple beam. This is probably one of the earliest things found when it comes to dread speedrunning. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of just tech to this game. And it's like really cool. The only thing that has been patched out, which I mentioned before, was the invincibility glitch. Mostly because that was something that could be encountered in regular play. Because all it took was to unmorph coming out of or into an enemy gate. So that's the first part of the skip, and if I can do this right. No. Luckily saved it. Thank you. Whew. Okay. If I mess that second jump up, I go into the lava and I have no way of getting out of it, so I'd have to go all the way back. But thankfully, I was able to save it the first time and get it right the second time. There is also, on the way back, because we just grab the grapple beam and then go back, you can essentially do the same thing on the way back, go down that lower path, but for safety, I'm just going to take the slightly slower path up high. It does use grapple beam a couple of times, and it does Well, it will give us a couple of extra missiles to work with, which is not too bad. And this is that second missile that I was mentioning that we're needing to use. Now we have the grapple beam. It gets a reasonable amount of use in this. There's some little optimizations you can do with that segment there, but yeah, that feels alright. But yeah, when I did that, when I did that second jump and I did the save where I slid down and re-grabbed and went into that little spot, that's essentially how the path back ends up going. I don't trust myself to not screw it up and just die in lava and then have to go all the way back again, so I'm just going to take it safe. Okay. And I'm just gonna take this day path back. Okay. And I think because we got early grapple, we're able to get early bombs. Oh. Right grapple. Let's see how the enemy's treating me right now. Yep, we're good. Alright, just get smacked out a little bit, right? The grapple is very much used a reasonable amount to trying to speed up some segments in terms of movement, especially on the spider grapple walls. Kind of nice. Yep. Mostly doing that just because I want the health. Now we get bombs. For those who have played or watched a lot of Metroid runs of other games, bombs can be... What am I doing? Can be very powerful. I'm just mashing mashing L, so I just keep on accidentally going into morph bomb. Words. Morph ball to set bombs. Sorry, my head's all over the place today, but yeah, we're getting through it just fine. Alright, now we get to go to essentially the water world. Is this Barania? There's Barania. All the areas are just essentially labeled A through H. Is that through I? I think H. They just go through the alphabet. Okay. So we'll be getting... also, early grapple allows us to skip all the stuff that's down below this little section and just go straight through here. Bonk. Don't mind you. Just trying to think how long until we stop talking to Adam. It's not that long. Oh, come on. Let me... let me go. Yeah, you get a reasonable amount of clarity time in this to get through certain things, which is also what we essentially use to do that skip earlier to get the grapple. I have taken a lot of damage. Alright, now we get Flash Shift. This is essentially just like a dash. And we need it to get past those kinds of things. I am gonna... Fine, I'll just kill you. Grab this energy tank. You good? Thank you. And now when I was talking earlier about how there are some updates to the route, and I'm going to be using an older one, there is a way to do a weird pseudo wave to destroy some of these things much, much sooner, where you don't even have to come anywhere near the bottom. You can just shoot from up top, but that's like a pause buffered pseudo wave, which I am not familiar with doing. I know that they are a little bit more straightforward, but again, it's not something that I'm familiar with or comfortable with. Underwater bomb jumps. This is... damn it. Just a weird thing about just the physics of this game. If you do a little bomb jump and then unmorph, you'll be in like this weird state, so that if you bomb jump in the air, well, I say in the air, but off the ground, you will get like additional height. Usually the game stops you from gaining extra height if you're underwater, just a nature of the physics. But if we do that little unmorphing trick and give it another crack, it allows us to get that little bit of extra height, which is also going to be used for a couple of extra skips later on. And there's also some more weird underwater physics shenanigans to go on later on. God. The shots are being very aggressive right now. This one is a pretty straightforward kill. Just aim good when it's coming across. Oh, I did not expect it. There we go. Cool. With my other controller, I would the aiming I would just whiff so many times, and it would already be halfway across the roof by the time I got to it. By the time I started actually hitting it. Alrighty, speed booster. Now, Shine Sparks. The love and joy of Metroid runs everywhere. And speed booster movement is a lot of fun. Damn it. Will you go into a morph ball when doing that one just to avoid an extra animation? Alright. Hell yeah. Pretty happy with that. Okay. Another fun thing about Shine Sparks and all that kind of stuff, really good when it comes to fighting certain enemies. So those cores that we use to end up shooting the enemies, the first part of it, like the shell, instant kill from a Shine Spark. Some of the Chozo Warriors stuff, we can get 2 Shine Sparks onto to kill. Mostly just this first one. Some of the other ones you can get maybe 1 if you're lucky. Yeah. Let us see if we can get this fight to go well. So Shine Spark number 1. Ah. Short it a little bit too much. Oh, come on. It is still preferable to do this instead of trying to fight it normally. There we go. 2 hits. It's just that simple. Oh. Come on. Let me. Jeez. Get some extra missiles. Okay, so we didn't actually get anything new in terms of items or anything, but by doing that, we did talk with a character, Quiet Robe, I think is the one. I think is his name. And we get to go to a new area in Brenia, which we get to do one of the next big skips, which skips the entire underwater boss, which is really cool, because that fight is a slog. But first, talking with Adam. Okay. There is a quicker way to get through, well, get from point A to point B, essentially, which I forget every time where I'm supposed to go when I try and do some of the fancier routing. So I'm just gonna go the semi-fast route, I think that was. Come on. Come on. Come on. I'm just trying to think how long until we get the gravity. We do an extra fight, and then we get supers, and then we get the plasma, and that's when we start doing damage to things. Then it's ice rockets, and then we do some of the biggest skips in the game to get early space jump and then early screw attack. And I think after that we go and get gravity suit. There was a previous route to where we didn't even get we didn't get space jump, so we were doing it with just a single jump, and it made some parts really awkward late game. Can I jump off this wall, please? Oh. Alright, so this next skip, well, for my next trick, we will be doing a slide into this wall with a charged shot, and if we go turn away and turn back in, it will blow that up, and that skips the entire underwater boss. And I'm going to use a little bit of health to do this, and make sure getting past those is very neat and tidy. So yeah, doing that skips the entire boss underwater, where we would usually have gravity suit and all this other stuff going on. We would have drained a whole bunch of stuff, but no, we're not bothering with that. We're just gonna shoot through a wall when we shouldn't be able to and just move on. That also was a fairly early skip count. Like, essentially, once it was found out that pseudo waves were a thing, it essentially ended up with people going, all right, what can we shoot through and how? Because there's the ways that we've seen where you'd like bonk your head on the wall, on the roof and stuff like that. No, this really sucks. If you don't get a shine spark on this is an absolute pain in the butt. And sometimes it's better just to die to him. I should have died quicker, but we'll see if I could get through it. Yeah. Not getting the shine spark, it's very annoying. Because you need to have, like, use this entire full run, and sometimes you can... No! Oh, come on. Alright, just kill me. Damn it. That's really annoying. I had this shine spark, but I didn't jump before letting it rip. I didn't jump again. I'm I am hitting the button in place, so I'm not actually jumping, I'm just letting it rip while I'm staying in place. Come on. It dodged it! Alright, I'm mad. I am so mad. Why is it this split that is? There we go. That move with the sparks does a lot of damage. There we go. That took way longer than it needed to. Oh. Come on. Okay, just take a mental reset, we're good. We're fine. It's at least one of those things where it's like, probably only put like an extra couple of minutes. Now... What's meant to happen? Oof. That was not a great split. Everything else around it was pretty okay. It's just, that specific jump. Oh, that specific jump. Yeah, but it's fine. It's fine. We're still just fine. We're still on schedule. Alright, so what do we do next? We get the plasma, we come back and grab ice, and then we do one of the real fancy skips. The fancy skip to get early space jump, there is two ways to do it. There's one that is a pseudo wave setup, which is very particular. And the other one is a very particular set of sliding bomb jumps that you have to break 4 different blocks and then get up that same spot in order to get. It is a very impressive thing to do, but I am not that kind of gamer. I will just go for the pseudo wave setup because I'm pretty confident with it at this point. And now we have the X, I think. I don't know, it's been a while since I've cared about or looked at the lore and what's actually going on. But anyway, we're getting plasma right now. Let me at it. So, coming up to a bunch of fights, the plasma beam is going to be our best source of DPS because, essentially, the way this game is, the amount of damage you do or the amount of shots you fire is equal to the amount of button presses that you do. And so what I'm going to do, because I am using a turbo controller, I am going to hold the button and do this. And it is allowed because accessibility and my hands are absolutely screwed up from mashing in Pokemon Sword and Shield speedrunning. So we just do these couple of parries. Let him rip. And that's that boss done. I am going to grab this extra health tank, because again, I prefer it. And now we make our way back. Oh. Apart from that one Chozo Warrior fight, I'm feeling pretty good about this run. The robot thing, whatever you want to call it. I think it's Chozo something. Chozo Robot. Because that was the Chozo Warrior that I just fought. Something along those lines. Also, remember to skip the cutscene. Because at that point, it's... there's a cutscene there. Okay. No! Let me win!
Uploading data.
I think this is the last of the Adam talks we have. Ooh. Happy with that. Okay, so, talking of those underwater bomb jumps. Like so. Usually, we'd have to have the, I think, either an extra, like, it was either the extra jumps or, gravity suit for that. Anyway. That's what I mean about just absolutely ruining them. There is a chance sometimes for the Emmy to spawn, like, coming into this room just before, like, coming in here. There's a chance for the Emmy to, like, essentially spawn at the door. So there's sometimes where I've just ran right into it. Damn it. I did screw that up a little bit, but managed to save it a little bit as well. We do a little screwing around, but a little bit of saving as well. Please. There we go. Now we get the ice missiles, ice rockets, missiles. And we carry on. We will have to fight one of those big things later on. Okay, so the way this is going to work is I'm going to charge up a shot, melee, like running melee attack into a wall, and also aim at the ground. And when a certain enemy below the floor is at a certain point of its animation, I'm going to get into a morph ball. Let's see if I You can see it going through and actually tagging the enemy, but I think I'm just a little bit wrong on something. So, It's almost there. There we go. And this right here gives us early space jump. That's honestly like pretty good. How much time I put into that. There is sometimes where what will happen is you take too many attempts and the enemy that you're shooting at ends up dying, and then you can't do it. You have to like reload the area in some manner. Ooh. That's honestly not one of the things one of the skips I'm most worried about. There are other skips that one's like finicky and very reliant on the setup, but I'm pretty comfortable with that one. Alright, so what are we doing now? We just have to get back to Artaria so we can go and grab the screw attack. Now, what would, in general progression, in a casual playthrough, you would usually get the screw attack once everything is frozen over. We don't even let it get to that point. Which does make things a little bit awkward in trying to maneuver around. Let's see how this goes. Alright, let me try and remember the way back. Go here, and then we go back this way. Go down here. And we go back to here. The reason I do a melee before using the Shine Spark is that it quickens up the animation. It's not something I'm too practiced with, but getting it down, like, if you can consistently do it with the amount of Shine Sparks that we end up doing, it does save like a reasonable amount of time, and it also cleans up timing-wise. Like, there are certain enemies you can only really hit with the Shine Spark if they're in a certain animation. Being able to time it just a little bit easier using the quick spark is a little bit nicer. In. Let's make our way down. We shouldn't really be here just yet because we do not have the gravity suit, but hey, you can't tell me what to do. I am taking a lot of damage, a lot more than what I would like to, but... Okay, now this is another weird thing about underwater physics. If you slide off the corner... Nice. If you slide off, like, a bottom corner of some of the terrain, it will allow you to gain some extra height for some reason. Ooh, that is the wrong way. Yeah, that's what's supposed to happen if I accidentally... Cool. And there's the screw attack early. Again, not supposed to be able to get that, but... Alright, so what we need is... We need to store up a shine spark. And we have to do that same trick again. So we slide off this corner. Come on, there we go. There is a pseudo wave to speed this little shot up a little bit quicker, but I haven't learned it. This jump can sometimes be a pain. Come on, there we go. Cool. This is the part where we go and get the gravity suit. We do a whole bunch of teleporting all over the place, but we do get there eventually. What's my timer at? It's looking alright. Funnily enough, I am seeing some gold splits, which is nice to see. Alright, so this is where... Oi. I opened this up earlier, so we can speed that up. Just a little bit. Not too much, but it's enough. What's the next trick? There is a cool triple shine that I do. I think it's possible to do it as just a double, but the way I have learned it, like I haven't learned to do the double part of it. It's essentially after the first one, you drop down and then do double phase dash, but I haven't done learned the phase dash part of it. So I'm just going to do the triple. Whoop. Whoop. Okay. Hopefully I can get this first try, because it looks really cool when I get it first try. And you really do not have a lot of space to actually get it to work. You have like just enough space to get a spark set up. Alright, so come in here. Damn it. Usually, I can just have that. Alright, cool. And there's the skip. And what this does, it will bring us all the way over here, and I am actually gonna grab that health because I'm going to want to need it for an upcoming fight. Or actually, if I get it set up right, I won't need to. Let's rip that out. And now we get the Pika fashion, the gravity suit. Doesn't it look so wonderful? Alright. Just grab these missiles for safekeeping. Come on, please. Stay. Oh, damn it. This is not good. This is going real pear-shaped. That could have gone much better. Just saying. Okay. But we do have the gravity suit. We've dealt with that. The reason why I went with the plasma is because when you have them stacked up like that, you hit both of them and it does a lot of damage. Those guys are kind of rude. And we'll fight another set of them later on. We'll be, if I get it correctly, I should be able to Shine Spark one of them, which I think I heard that a Shine Spark does 50% to them, something to that effect. Alright. This fight can be a little bit annoying. I didn't get the shine. Happy about that one. Cool. So that's what I mean about timing the... These shots do quite a bit, but that went quite well. Hell yeah, that went really good. I had enough health because of everything that went on. I had enough health to just like tank some of those missiles. They hurt, but I had enough health to deal with it. Oh wait, I wanted that. Alright, now we're getting into the last little segment of this game. Well, kinda. There's still a few things here and there to take care of. We need storm rockets, wave beam, power bombs, which weirdly enough we get power bombs at the very end. So there's one mini boss. There's one more Emmy for us to deal with. That's, I guess I can say. And because of all of the shenanigans we've done and skipping, Adam just doesn't talk to us here, which is... Thank you. Another cool thing about... you can... About pseudo stuff, you can use pseudos with the grapple beam. You can do pseudos with the grapple beam. It works in the very much the same way as that skip earlier, where you slide in, aim back, and then forward, like double side switch. It's just, instead of shooting a charge shot, it's just firing off the grapple. And it's only really used there, and all it does, it means we don't have to crawl up in the roof of that section. It just means we can just go through there, and then on the way back we don't have to grab it again. So it doesn't save that much time, but it's speed running. Every little bit counts. All right. Oh, not up there. Down here. I will always get lost in this area. It took me so long of running this game to not get lost. Oh, come on, please. Please stop perceiving me. Thank you. At least now that we have screw attack, everything dies pretty quickly, which is nice. Alright. All the way down here. We can get a Shine Spark on this enemy. Stand right here. And then just... Screw attack is really good. Okay, I think... Oh. Wait. Alright, so Storm. We do this. Come on, let me through. I'll hit one of them. Alright, now there's down to just one of them. I'll just use Screw Attack. Screw Attack is really good as well. One of the usual methods is to just bounce Screw Attack off them like a whole bunch of times. But if they're both lined up like that, he can just blast them like that. Ooh. Here we go. So this is the easiest of the AI to deal with, because we do that and then screw attack one-shots it. Try to use Cloak Mine and... Yeah, the enemies can sometimes just be really rude and be really committed to being a pain in the butt. This enemy is... It has some quick ways to kill it. It's very, very sketchy, like doing it from like right here. I am not about that life. I'm just gonna take it nice and steady. Well, as steady as it can be, I guess. Because this is still pretty sketch, but not as sketch as it could be. It's looking pretty sketch. Nah, it's fine. Not even close. I swear. Now we get Wave Beam, which is super nice. Which is also the reason why it's called the Pseudo Wave. We're into the last little bit. There is just 2 of the Chosen Warriors. Then we have to fight Dad, and then we have the escape. Ugh. Oh. This room also has like a really hard time. It's just like, for some reason, this room is like the laggiest. Didn't even really give him a chance to use that shield all that much. Oh, and there's also this where it gets us power bombs. One more Chozo, and then a big fight, which has a reasonably particular way in which to do it. You send, I think, 8 rockets into him, and then wait for him to do one of the counterable attacks. And then during the big animation kind of thing, come on. Again, just using, just going into Morph Ball when using the Shine Spark, just because it speeds things up a little bit. See if I can. I'm just not going to bother with that. There we go. That spit does a lot of damage. There we go. Okay, and now for the final fight. Ugh, come on, I can jump. Yep, let's use the elevator. Let's do our fight. So 8 rockets, and then just wait. Let me just wait for him to do that move. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then just pepper him with bullets. And then what's going to happen is it's going to do a move that's going to cover up like most of the screen. And what you do is you just duck underneath it, which will start up another... Alright, I guess we get another one of these. We don't get that move. Alright, so... I don't want to take too many hits from that. My aim is kind of all over the shop. Whoop, wrong button. Really? Frost bombs are pretty good at... Oh, okay. Alright, let's just deal with the sun. Alright, let me just get hit by all of these attacks. There we go. And that's the boss fight done. Ooh. And yes, he's pretty much all his moves hurt a lot. So some things happened. Just gonna pump it for a little bit and then... You only really need to be blasting for like the last little bit in this little segment. And you can save a little bit of time by stopping for a sec. But anyway, now for the escape. Which also means that soon-ish, time will be coming up. Oh, I just brain farted. Could have just right there. Alright, cool. We do get at least one shine spark. Damn it. That's what happens when you don't get in more ball before you do it. You get like a big ol' animation. Damn it. Okay. And... time. Whew. That's a pretty good run. I was pretty happy with how that went. Oh yeah, that's the whole thing. So we can see what the in-game time is. It is going to look a little bit longer than, it is going to probably be around like a 1... My in-game time's usually around 150. This is probably like a 148 in-game time because it also takes into account like a lot of cutscenes and stuff like that. It is 149. Oh, not bad. But anyway, that's gonna do it for me. Thank you so much for having me on. This has been a lot of fun. Yeah. GLPhoenix is where you can find me. Pretty much everywhere. But yeah, have a wonderful rest of the marathon. I hope you enjoy the rest of the runs. I hope you enjoyed your time here, and I'll talk to you later.